Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chatsurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are going through the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, the second part, and we heard about the travels of Gopkumar, a cowherd boy from Govardhan, who travelled through the material world and then into the spiritual world and went to Goloka, and he's come back to Vrindavan.
我们现在在聆听的是《大博伽瓦坛甘露》第2部分这部书，讲述的是勾尔丹山的一位牧牛童勾帕库马尔的旅行。他在整个物质世界穿越了物质世界之后，进入到灵性世界，又从灵性世界又一直上升到狗洛卡文达文，最后他又从狗洛卡回到了地球上的文达文。
And Gopkumar had been giving instruction to a Brahmana from Mathura.
Sorry, Maharaj. The host, Krishna Kumar, asked me to say the beginning words of this Vaikuntha.
Oh, okay.
Vaikuntha 知音服务员听，今天是2021年7月6日，我们又荣幸的邀请到了圣巴比维克努尼尔什纳森斯瓦玛尔给我们讲述今天大博伽瓦坛甘露，敬请聆听 Hare Krishna。
Yeah, somebody said, "Okay, 我听到有人说我们开始，所以我赶快 began."
Because they want to record this, so they have to record the days, month.
Okay.
Okay.
So now we have Uttara talking to her son Parikshit. Uttara is the mother, and she had inquired about any place higher than Vaikuntha, beyond Vaikuntha. And so she'd heard from Parikshit about Goloka.
Uttara 在正是和他的 Uttara 是母亲在跟他的儿子 Parikshit 讲话，他在询问 Parikshit 王有没有比 Vaikuntha 更高的领域，然后 Parikshit 王就告诉他母亲 Goloka 比 Vaikuntha 更高级。
So Parikshit was describing to his mother about the glories of Goloka.
Parikshit 王现在在向他的母亲形容 Goloka 的荣耀。
And he tells her how Goloka is, in Goloka you can have eternal contact, you can enjoy eternal loving contact with Krishna.
在 Goloka， 人可以跟 Krishna 进行永恒的爱的接触。
So Parikshit said, I've told you everything now about Goloka, and I've answered your question. I think all your doubts should now be removed.
Parikshit 王告诉他的母亲，我现在已经给你详细的描述了一切，我已经回答了您提出的问题，我想您的疑惑已经完全消除了。
Parikshit had told his mother what she had to do, and he wants to remind her that Goloka is the final goal.
Parikshit 告诉母亲她应该做什么，并且告诉她 Goloka 才是终极的目标。
And she should meditate on Goloka, and it will help her to progress.
Uttara 应该冥想 Goloka， 这可以帮助她取得进步。
Originally, Uttara had asked Parikshit, she'd asked him, please deliver me.
一开始的时候 ，Uttara 请求 Parikshit 他的儿子，请拯救我。
So Parikshit had responded, and he told her everything directly.
Parikshit 就回答了。
He satisfied her, are removed.
Uttara 已经详细的了解了 Goloka 的情况，因此他内心的疑惑已经现在没有了。
So Goloka it's above Vaikuntha, and it can be achieved only by very strong love for the lotus feet of Krishna.
Goloka 在 Vaikuntha 之上，而且只能通过对 Krishna 莲花足的强烈的爱，才能达到那里。
So in Goloka, you get rewards, you get what you cannot even imagine, beyond our desires, far beyond any of our desires we can get.
在 Goloka 人获得的回报，是远远超越了一个人能够渴望的。
And if we meditate on the people who live in that place, Goloka, then that will give us love of God.
倘若人要是冥想居住在 Goloka 星球上的人们的情况，他就能够获得对神手的爱。
So the only practice or sadhana which we can do to reach that Goloka is to develop this love for Krishna.
要想达到 Goloka， 唯一需要去实践的就是发展起对 Krishna 的爱。
And that love is only there in the residents of Goloka. The people who live with Krishna in Goloka, they all have that love.
在 Goloka 和 Krishna 一起居住在那里的人们，全都拥有对 Krishna 的爱。
So we have to remember these devotees, these people who are living with Krishna in Goloka, who are Krishna's eternal associates. And by remembering them, that's the key to success.
我们需要记忆，在 Goloka 和 Krishna 居住在一起的奉献者们，他们是 Krishna 永恒的同游，意念他们将使一个人达到成功。
people like Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, the gopis, the cowherd boys, they all have this love of Krishna.
南达大君、亚修的妈妈、牧牛姑娘和牧牛童们，他们全部都拥有对 Krishna 的爱。
So Parikshit has answered his mother's question by telling her two histories.
Parikshit 通过讲述两段历史，回答了他母亲的询问。
Right, this book, Brhad Bhagavatamrta, is actually in two parts. There's two stories. Now one was about Narada, and this other one, which we've been reading just now, this is about Gop Kumara, the cowherd boy from Govardhan.
Brhad Bhagavatamrta 大伯加尔谈甘露这部书由两部分组成，是由两段历史组成。第一段是有关于 Narada 的，而第二段历史是有关于勾尔丹山的牧牛童 Gopakumar 的历程。
So Parikshit said, he said to his mother, I could satisfy your request, your question, by telling you about the opinion, what the scriptures say.
Parikshit 告诉他母亲，我可以通过向你讲述经典中的描述来满足您的询问。
So he said, now that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you some of the different things which are said in the scriptures describing the glories of Goloka.
接下来我们要做的就是讲述经典当中对 Goloka 荣耀的描述。
So he says, above heaven is Brahmaloka. Above the heavenly planets, where the demigods live, is Brahmaloka, where there are many Brahma Rishis, means very great sages.
他说，在天堂之上的是 Brahmaloka 上星球上居住的许多 Brahma Rishi， 许多圣人们。
And it is the goal of Lord Shiva and his wife Uma, and also great souls who are all liberated in the Supreme. They all want to go there.
那里是主 Shiva 和他的妻子的目的地，也是许多把至尊者当成他们的终极目标的伟大灵魂们的向往目的地。
So we're going to hear some prayers which were offered to Krishna by Lord Indra after Krishna picked up the Govardhan hill.
接下来我们将要聆听主英者给主 Krishna 的祈祷，这是在主 Krishna 举起勾尔丹山之后，他献上的祈祷。
We should understand how the universe can be divided into three different divisions.
要理解这个宇宙是分成三个部分。
There's the lower planets, which are like the legs of the Supreme Lord.
有低等星宿，低等星宿就好比是至尊主的腿部。
And then the middle planets in the universe are like the navel of the Lord.
以及宇宙的中等星宿，它好比是至尊主的肚脐。
And the upper planets, which are like Swarg, where the demigods in that live, that's like the chest of the Lord.
以及高等星宿 Swarg， 他们就是半神们居住的，就好比是至尊主的胸膛。
So this Swarg, this is not only the demigods live there, but there's 5 different planetary systems all up there, above Indra, even above Indra, where Indra lives. And it goes all the way up to where Brahma lives.
在天地英者居住的天堂星宿之上嘛，还有5个更高等的星宿。在这5个 个高等的星宿体系之上呢是 Brahma Loka。
And above Brahmaloka, then that's the end of the material universe.
到了 Brahma Loka，在 Brahma Loka 之上面呢，就是整个这个物质宇宙就终止在这个地方了。
And above that is Vaikuntha.
在他们之上边的是 Vaikuntha 无忧星宿。
So Vaikuntha sometimes is also called Brahmaloka because it's the abode of pure spirit. So Brahman means spirit, so sometimes Brahmaloka is another name of Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha 有的时候也被称为 Brahma Loka， 因为那里是纯粹灵魂居住的地方。
But of course,
纯粹的灵魂被称为 Brahman， 因此 Vaikuntha 有时候被称为 Brahma Loka。
Of course, Vaikuntha is the place where the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, rules.
神手 Krishna 的领域。
So above the five different planets which are at the top of the universe, you come to the covering of the universe, and there's 7 coverings. So there,
5个
yeah, planetary systems.
Above the 5 planet system is the covering of the universe,
Yeah.
and it consists of 10.
7 coverings. 7 coverings.
7 cover. OK. 在5个不同的星宿之上面是宇宙的外壳，宇宙的外壳是由7层组成的。
And above these coverings, that's the abode of liberation, right? The place where people get liberation go there. They go beyond the covering of the universe.
而在这七个外壳7层，外壳之上面是解脱的居所，那就是那些解脱的灵魂，他们的目的地。
And then we come to Shivaloka, the place of Lord Shiva. And then you come to the spiritual world.
然后在这个之上，在解脱的居所之上呢，就是 Shiva Loka， 主 Shiva 的居所。在主 Shiva 的居所之上面，就是灵性世界了。
So, the heavenly planets, that's where all the pious people go.
天堂星宿是那些虔诚的灵魂们他们所去的地方。
So we want to understand how great Vaikuntha is and how it's far beyond the heavenly planets.
我们要明白Vaikuntha无忧星宿的伟大之处，它远远高于天堂。
There's so many other things between the spiritual world and heavenly planets.
在灵性世界和天堂之间，有许许多多的这个不同的星系。
So Krishna is not simply just Brahman. Krishna is the supreme Brahman.
Krishna 是不仅仅是 Brahman，Krishna 是至尊的 Brahman。
That was described in the Bhagavad Gita.
这一点在《佛家梵歌》当中予以了描述。
And Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita says, he describes his opulence. He says he is a super soul seated in the hearts of all living entities.
主本人在《佛家梵歌》中描述了他的富裕，他说，他是居于众生心中的超灵。
So devotees, we can also say that the impersonal Brahman is also one of Lord Krishna's vibhutis.
我们也可以说，奉献者们也可以说，非人格的 Brahman 也是 Krishna 的奉献者之一。
And there's the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, and from the 1,000 names of Vishnu, we can see that Krishna is actually the Supreme Brahman.
有1000个 Vishnu 的名字 ，Vishnu 有1000个名字，在这1000个名字当中呢，我们可以看出来 ，Krishna 是至尊 Brahman， 至尊梵。
So the word Vaikuntha, of course, is eternal. These planets are all eternal. It's never annihilated.
Vaikuntha 无忧星宿是永恒的，永远不会毁灭。
So this word Brahma Loka is also Vaikuntha.
因此 ，Brahmaloka 这个词就是指的是 Vaikuntha 无忧星宿。
So those who are Brahma Rishis, the great sages who are fixed in Brahman, there's two types.
那些 Brahma Rishi， 也就是专注于 Brahman 梵的圣者们，分为2类。
Some are like Narada, they're very dedicated to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Brahman.
有像 Narada 这样的圣者，是完全献身于至尊 Brahman， 献身于 Krishna 的圣者们。
And others are just simply absorbed in the impersonal Brahman.
其余的是那些仅仅专注于至尊 Brahman、至尊梵的圣者。
But to go to the spiritual world is the desire for all the great sages, including even Lord Shiva and his wife. They all want to go to the spiritual world.
灵性世界是伟大圣者们想要去的地方，包括主 Shiva 和他的妻子们，他们都想去灵性世界。
So people who want to actually enter into the spiritual world, they're not impersonalists, but they're great devotees of Krishna.
想要进入灵性世界的，不是非人格主义者们，他们全部是 Krishna 的伟大奉献者。
People like Sanat Kumar, one of the 4 Kumaras, and his brothers, the 4 Kumaras, they know from their own experience, they know how impersonal liberation is not very important.
像库马尔4兄弟当中的 Sanat Kumar， 他们从他们的亲身经验当中知道，非人格的解脱并不是那么重要的。
And Narada Muni and other associates of Lord Narayan, they have the same experience.
主 Narayan 的同游 Narada Muni， 他们也有同样的切身体验。
Devotees like Narada and his other devotees of Lord Narayan, they're all residents of the spiritual world.
像 Narada 这样的圣人，他们是以及主 Narayan 的奉献者们，他们全部都是灵性世界的居民。
So they don't have any difficulty to enter into Vaikuntha.
他们可以轻而易举的就能够进入到 Vaikuntha 无忧心所。
So the spiritual world is far beyond the sun and the moon.
灵性世界远远的高于太阳、月亮。
And there's many planets between the sun, like the sun and the moon, they're higher planets, they're heavenly planets. But there's many other planets before you come to the spiritual world.
太阳和月亮都属于高等的星宿，它们都属于天堂。但是在进入到灵性，想要从那里进入到灵性世界，它们中间还有着许许多多各式各样的星球。
Yeah, there's planets like Mahaloka and Janaloka and Tapaloka.
例如 Mahaloka、Janaloka、Tapaloka。
And then you come to Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma resides.
再往上面就是主 Brahma 居住的 Satyaloka。
So the sun and the moon, they cannot even go to Satyaloka, they cannot even go to Brahmaloka, where Brahma lives. So they cannot go to Vaikuntha.
像日月这样的，像日月，他们都不能进入 Satyaloka Brahma 的居所，更何况去 Vaikuntha 呢？
So above Brahmaloka is the planet of the cows, which is protected by the Sadyas.
在 Brahmaloka 之上边是母牛的星球，这个星球由 Sadya 所保护着。
And that planet expands infinitely.
那个星球可以无限的扩展。
It pervades the spiritual sky.
那可以遍透、弥漫整个的灵性天空。
So that planet's above all other planets.
那个星球是高于任何其他星球。
And to go there, you have to really concentrate. You have to have a very strong desire in your heart.
谁要想去那里，必须是有非常的全神贯注、专注，并且内心怀着强烈的愿望。
And none of us can understand that place, although we have asked about it from our grandfather.
None of us will understand it, although we have asked by our grandfather.
Yeah, we asked our grandfather about it, but he also couldn't tell us about it.
我们都不能理解。我们曾经问过我们的祖父们，他们也不能给我们讲述。
because Vaikuntha is unlimited, so there's nothing beyond it in terms of time and space.
因为外昆特是无穷无尽的，所以时间和空间都不能限制它。
But still, Goloka, the planet of the cows, lies above Vaikuntha.
尽管如此，母牛的星宿和 Goloka 甚至都超越了外昆特之上。
Just like Shiva Loka is considered above the place of liberation.
正像 Shiva Loka， 主 Shiva 的星球，它超越了解脱之地。
And Vaikuntha is also considered to be above Shiva Loka.
同样的，外昆特无忧星宿也超越了 Shiva Loka。
And in the same way, Goloka is above Vaikuntha.
以同样的方式 ，Goloka 远远在外昆特之上。
Now, if we say that Goloka is above Vaikuntha, only because only on Goloka does Krishna's Lila Shakti show its perfect pastimes. Only in Goloka does Krishna perform his very special pastimes. So we may say this is why Goloka is above Vaikuntha.
只是在 Goloka 星球上，主 Krishna 才上演他特殊的小时光，所以 Goloka 是在外昆特星球之上面的。
So in Goloka there's many of these sadyas. The sadyas means Krishna's greatest devotees.
在 Goloka 星球上面居住着许多 Sadyas。Sadyas 的意思就是指的主 Krishna 最伟大的奉献者们。
People like Nanda Maharaj and others.
例如像南达大君等等这样的奉献者。
And great personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and Narada Muni and Sanat Kumar, they all want to try to follow. They want to come to their level. They're not on the level of Nanda Maharaj.
像 Brahma、Shiva、Narada 和 Sanat Kumar 这样的伟大人物，他们都在努力的试图，来到南的大君这样的层面，追随他们。
So the cowherd men and the cowherd women of Goloka, they bring Krishna under their control because of their very special love for Krishna.
格鲁克上面的牧牛郎以及牧牛女们，他们由于对 Krishna 怀着的特殊的爱，所以能将 Krishna 置于自己的控制之下。
So these sadyas are people also like the gopis. Of course, Srimati Radharani, she's the head of the gopis. And Krishna's very, very dear devotees.
那些 Sadyas 也包括以 Radharani 为首的牧牛姑娘们，她们都是 Krishna 至亲至爱的奉献者。
and they maintain that place, Goloka, and they arrange for all of Krishna's pastimes, wonderful pastimes, so that everybody can know about the wonderful place that Goloka is.
这些奉献者们维持着狗罗卡，他们安排Krishna的消时光，好让人们都了解狗罗卡。
Ordinary demigods, they have their heavenly body, but they cannot even travel to Brahmaloka. They cannot go up to Brahma's planet, Satyaloka. They cannot go into Vaikuntha.
普通的半神人们拥有天仙的身体，但是他们无法去Satyaloka，更何况去Vaikuntha呢？
So there's no way they can ever go to Goloka.
他们根本就不可能去Goloka。
So Goloka expands unlimitedly. It's full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss.
Goloka 可以无穷无尽的扩展它自己，那是充满着永恒知识及极乐。
The material world is limited, but the spiritual sky is unlimited.
物质世界是有限的，但灵性天空是无穷无尽的。
Just like the sky pervades the material world, as long as the universe exists. So Brahman is also all-pervading and eternal.
正如天空遍透了整个物质宇宙，遍透整个物质存在，同样的 ，Brahman 饭也遍透了永恒的领域。
So Goloka is the supreme abode. It's far above all other places.
因此 ，Goloka 是至高无上的居所，远远超越了其他地方。
Just like it's very difficult for conditioned souls to understand Vaikuntha, Goloka is even more difficult to understand.
正像受条件限制的灵魂们很难理解Vaikuntha，同样的，他们也很难理解Goloka。
Goloka can only be understood by great austerity, by concentration of the heart.
只有透过巨大的苦行，只有透过内心强烈的专注，才可以明白。
Goloka is not known even to the great sages.
甚至伟大的圣哲们都不了解Goloka。
Even these great sages, they go to the grandfather of the universe. The grandfather of the universe means Lord Brahma, and they go to Lord Brahma and they ask him about it. But they're not able to know very much, because even Lord Brahma doesn't know much about it.
这些伟大的圣哲们会去宇宙的祖父Brahma 那里询问有关的消息，但是 Brahma 他自己都不了解。
So, pious people who control the mind and senses, they are able to go to Swarga, the heavenly planets.
虔诚之士可以控制他们的感官和心意，他们能够去天堂 Svargaloka。
And if people do very intense spiritual discipline, spiritual practice, they may even go up to Brahmaloka.
而那些有着强烈的灵性修行，约束自己的人，他们可以去 Brahmaloka。
But to go to Goloka, the planet of the cows, is the most difficult.
而想要去 Goloka 母牛的星宿是难上加难。
That world, Goloka, was under attack. But Krishna saved it.
那个 Goloka 那个世界受到了攻击，但是主 Krishna 拯救了它。
And Krishna wouldn't let anything happen to the cows.
Krishna 绝不会容忍对母牛所做的任何事情。
So Goloka is the residence of many, mostly of cows, and also the people who take care of the cows.
Goloka 它主要就是母牛的星球，以及那些照料母牛的人们居住的星球。
Now, heavenly planets, they're easy to go there. You just have to be pious, and you can get to the heavenly planets.
去天堂是容易的，只要是虔诚的人都可以去天堂。
And if they control their minds and senses, they can go into the higher planets.
他们控制自己的感官心意，就可以去高等星球。
And somebody may not be so good at controlling the mind and senses, but still they can go to the lower heavenly region. That's called there's a heavenly planets which is in the lower part of the universe. So people who are not very good at controlling the mind and senses, they can go there.
而那些不擅长控制心意和感官的人们，可以去较低的区域，有一部分天堂，它是居住在宇宙当中的较低的区域，而这些人们，他们可以去那里。
But Vaikuntha, the only people who can go there are the perfect Vaishnavas.
而只有完美的 Vaishnava 才可以去 Vaikuntha。
People who Vaishnava means people who concentrate their mind on the Supreme Lord, on the personality of Godhead.
Vaishnava 的意思就是心意专注于至尊性格神手的人们。
And they always engage in spiritual activities, and they have pure love for Krishna.
他们都从事灵性的活动，怀着对 Krishna 纯洁的爱。
So compared to the higher planets of the material world, or even the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha, Goloka is the highest.
比起物质世界里的高等星宿以及灵性世界的 Vaikuntha，Goloka 是最崇高的地方。
And the one who goes to Goloka, they will never come back to this world.
一旦去了 Goloka， 就永远不用再回到这个物质世界了。
So Goloka is not only the home of the cows, there are also the cowherd men and the cowherd women, the gopas and the gopis that take care of the cows.
Goloka 不仅仅是母牛的星球，也是照料母牛的 Gopa 牧牛郎以及牧牛女们的星球。
So these gopas and gopis, these people are the sadyas, and they protect the planet. They protect the cows, take care of the cows, and protect everything.
这些 Sadhya 们，他们保护着这个星球，保护着居住在上面的母牛。
So just as Gokula is in the district of Mathura on the earth planet. So it's also named after the cows.
就像狗哭了，是在地球上是在马祖勒区域。
Yeah, and there's also many cows there, and there are many of the cowherd people taking care of the cows.
那里有许许多多的母牛，也有许许多多照料母牛的牧牛郎。
So there's also people who have different relationships with Krishna. Not everybody is just taking care of the cows. There's other people also.
除此之外，还有许许多多其他的人们，都跟 Krishna 有关系。
Yeah, they're devotees. And devotees in different positions doing different services for Krishna.
他们全部都是奉献者们，他们处在不同的地位上，服务着主 Krishna。
So Lord Indra, he admits that he tried to disturb the peace of Krishna's place. Because Indra, right, he sent all the rain clouds to destroy Vrindavan and to kill all the cows and all the people of Vrindavan. So Indra said he admits he tried to stop, to disturb the peace of Krishna's place.
天帝因着派遣了大量的雨云，试图毁灭文达文，摧毁那里的母牛，摧毁那里的人们，所以他承认自己试图打扰 Krishna 自己的地方，打扰这个地方的平和。
But Goloka is transcendental, and Goloka is nobody's allowed to go there to give trouble there in Goloka.
但 Goloka 是超然的，没有人能够得到允许，能够去那里打扰那里。
So Indra, he's not really aware about Goloka. And so he thought that he created trouble there in Goloka, but actually he couldn't give any trouble to Goloka.
因着他意识不到 Goloka 的处境，他以为他打扰了那里的平和，但是实际上他不可能打扰那里。
Yeah, he imagined that when he attacked Gokula on earth, so he imagined that he was also giving trouble and causing anxiety to people in Goloka.
因着他想象，以为自己是打扰了地球上的狗哭了，他就以为他这样做就打扰了 Goloka 上面的居民，给他们带来了麻烦、焦虑。
So this was Indra's mistake. He didn't know the real position of Goloka above everything.
因着就这么想，他是犯了一个错误，因为他不了解 Goloka 的真实地位。
Then there's a statement by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. And Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, he's saying, in many different forms I move about here on earth, and also on Brahmaloka and in the eternal Goloka.
主 Krishna 对 Arjuna 讲了一段话，他说：“我以许许多多的形象，就在地球上，在 Brahmaloka 以及在永恒的 Goloka 到处的移动。”
So Krishna had been speaking about his different incarnations, including Lord Jagannath in Purushottam Kshetra.
Krishna 讲的是他不同的化身，包括在 Purushottam Kshetra 居住在那里的 Jagannath。
So in Goloka, Krishna appears as in the eternal spiritual world.
主 Krishna 在永恒的世界 Goloka 显现。
But there's another planet of cows which is in the material world.
然而，在物质世界还有一个母牛的星球。
After Krishna had picked up the Govardhan hill and protected all the cows, then Indra came with Mother Surabhi to offer prayers to Krishna, to apologize.
主 Krishna 举起了勾丹山，保护了母牛之后，英者就带着 Surabhi 母亲来到这里，向主 Krishna 献上祈祷，并且道歉。
Indra knew that if he just came on his own, Krishna would probably ignore him. So Lord Brahma told him, you go with Mother Surabhi, you take Surabhi with you, and Krishna will speak because he likes Surabhi.
英者知道，如果他自己单独一个人去的话，Krishna 就会不理睬他，所以 Brahma 就告诉英者，让他带上 Surabhi 母亲，然后这样，因为 Krishna 喜爱 Surabhi， 这样就会跟他讲话。
Because Krishna had protected all the cows, so Surabhi was grateful. She wanted to thank Krishna for protecting all the cows.
因为 Krishna 保护了所有的母牛，所以 Surabhi 母亲想要来为此感谢 Krishna。
So she came from her residence in the material Goloka. There's a Goloka which is in the material world, where all the cows are.
为此，母亲 Surabhi 就从物质世界的 Goloka 星球来到了这里。
And that planet of the cows, that's in the Satyaloka planetary system. Satyaloka is way at the top of the universe.
那个 Goloka 位于 Satyaloka 星系，是在宇宙的最高的区域。
So Indra came there with Surabhi and they did the Abhishek of Lord Krishna, and Mother Surabhi also poured her milk directly from her udder. She poured the milk onto Krishna, bathing Krishna.
Surabhi 就来了，他就和英者一起为 Krishna 做了 Abhishek 沐浴仪式。他从他的奶囊当中就洒下牛奶为 Krishna 沐浴。
Yeah, when we go to Govardhan Hill, we will visit that Govinda Kund and we see the place where Krishna and where Indra and Surabhi had bathed Lord Krishna.
当我们去勾丹山的时候，我们将会去拜访Govinda Kund。这个地方就是英者王和 Surabhi 为 Krishna Govinda 沐浴的地方。
So Surabhi wanted to thank Krishna, how he picked up the Govardhan Hill and he protected all the cows. So that was her way of doing it.
母亲 Surabhi 想要前来感谢 Krishna 保护了所有的母牛。
So when they did the bathing of Krishna, they made Krishna the Indra of the cows. Indra means the king. So they called Krishna at that time Govinda, the Indra of the cows, or the king of all the cows.
当他们为 Krishna 举行了沐浴仪式之后，他们就为 给 Krishna 命名为 Govinda。Govinda 的意思就是母牛之王。
So the Goloka, where this Mother Surabhi lives, in the material world, this is the destination of the fortunate cows who don't live in Mathura.
物 界的 Goloka 是那些没有居住在马图勒区域的幸运的母牛们的居所，那目的地。
So these cows, they don't live in Mathura, so they didn't get a chance to associate with Krishna or with the cowherd boys, but they belong to Brahma and other demigods.
那些没有居住在马图勒地区的母牛们，没有机会能够跟 Krishna 母牛郎们联谊的母牛们，他们居住在这个物质世界的 Goloka， 他们可以跟 Brahma 和那些圣者们联谊。
So because Krishna is always in Mathura, the cows, they share his pastimes with Krishna in Gokula. So they go to Goloka and they stay in Goloka with Krishna.
在马图勒地区有许许多多的母牛们，当他们没有机会去跟 Krishna 联谊的时候，就会去 Goloka 跟 Krishna 联谊。
No, because they did get the association of Krishna in Mathura.
Sorry， 对不起，翻译错了，因为他们得到了机会跟在马图勒，这些母牛们得到了机会在马图勒和 Krishna 联谊，所以他们可以进一步的就去 Goloka 去跟 Krishna 联谊。
Yeah, they take part in Krishna's pastimes in Gokula, and then from Gokula they go to Goloka.
他们这些母牛们，他们曾经在 Gokula 参与了 Krishna 的消时光，所以在这之后，他们就会晋升到 Goloka， 在那里跟 Krishna 再次上演消时光。
So now Jaimini is speaking. Jaimini is the son of Maharaj Parikshit.
接下来的这段话是 Jaimini 的话，他是 Parikshit 王的儿子。
And he's addressing the great sage Jaimini.
Jaimini is addressing Jaimini.
Janmanjaya is addressing Jaimini. Janmanjaya was the son of Maharaj Parikshit, and Jaimini is a sage.
对不起，翻错，刚才是应该是 Parikshit 的儿子叫 Janmanjaya， 他现在在和圣者 Jaimini 圣者讲话。
So Jaimini says, I'm very happy to hear all these things from you, and you've helped me to understand more about the nature of Goloka.
Jaimini 就对他说：“我很高兴听您讲了这番话，它帮助我能够更加理解 Goloka 了。”
So to understand all these deep statements about the spiritual world, you need the mercy of devotees.
所以，我们只有通过得到了奉献者的仁慈，才能够理解灵性世界的活动。
So, this son of Maharaj Parikshit, he's very grateful to his guru for helping him to hear and to understand about the spiritual world.
Parikshit 王子的儿子詹那美扎呀，他现在就很感激他自己的 guru 帮助他理解了灵性世界。
So he'd heard, he said that, yeah, I can understand, you've told me everything, I think your story is about to come to an end, So I feel very sorry that it's going to come to an end. So I want you to tell me more, give me some more things just to keep me satisfied.
然后他就是山上美扎也就说，我现在明白，您给我讲了，这一切，现在我知道了，这个故事将达到了尾声，所以我感到非常难过。您能不能给我更多的讲述一些，好让我得到满足呢？
Just like a person who has a fever, then they will be afraid of death.
正好像发高烧的人恐惧死亡。
So the same way, Janmanjaya, the son of Parikshit, he's afraid about coming to the end of his conversation with his guru.
同样的，Parikshit 的王的儿子真的没扎呀，他现在就害怕他跟他的 guru 的谈话将要达到尾声。
Just like the man with the fever may ask the doctor for some medicine. So the same way, the son of Parikshit, he wants his guru to give him some medicine to keep him alive.
像发高烧的人们会恳求医生给他一些药物，同样的 ，Parikshit 王的儿子现在就恳求他的医生，恳求他的 guru 给他一些药物，让他能够继续活下去。
And this medicine, the medicine he wants is to hear more of the topics about the Supreme Lord and his devotees.
这个药物就是聆听至尊主和他的奉献者更多的活动。
And if he can hear that, then that will make him happy.
他要是聆听了这些活动，他就会感到满心欢喜了。
Of course, that medicine will be through the ear, not through the mouth.
这个药物是通过耳朵，得到的，而不是从口中进食的。
Okay, so we'll stop now.
好，那现在我们正课的部分就讲到这里，
We'll
接
ask
下来我们看一下问题。
some questions.
第一个问题是 Rajendra Prabhu， 请拜亲爱的 Maharaj。Parikshit 王连续7天聆听 Shukadev Goswami 讲述圣典国家法坛，问题是7天7夜不吃不睡连续聆听吗？ So Parikshit Maharaj listened the Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami. The question is that is it that he didn't eat and didn't sleep and continuously listened Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days and 7 nights?
Yes, that's right.
是的，就是7天7夜不吃不睡连续聆听。周围的众多圣人们也是如此吗？ So there are many sages also listened to Srimad Bhagavatam. Did they also fast from drinking and eating and listen continuously for 7 nights and 7 days?
I don't know about that.
关于这些圣人呢，不知道。
We're not told that all the sages were also fasting.
我们并没有得到相关的信息，告诉我们有关于这些圣人们他们的情况。
But we're told Maharaj Parikshit did that.
至少是Maharaj Parikshit 王是这样的，7天7夜不吃不睡。
Because he's the one going to die.
因为是 Parikshit 王将要离开躯体。
Now usually, if a person will not eat or drink for 7 days, they will die. But Maharaj Parikshit didn't die.
通常，倘若谁要是7天7夜不吃不睡的话，就会死去。但是 Parikshit 王并没有死去。
Because he was enjoying the nectar of Krishna Katha.
他在享受着 Krishna Katha、Krishna 话题的甘露。
So that was his food. That was gave him life, hearing the topics of Krishna.
这是他的食物，这个食物就给了他生命，就是聆听 Krishna 的逍遥时光 Katha。
Yes.
不可思议，普通人无法理解，非常人之举。聆听有如此壮举吗？昨天以卡的届时都两眼金星闪烁，是否灵修如此精进，伟大奉献者能够征服吃睡呢？可以谢哈 Krishna。He said that it's very inconceivable for ordinary people to understand. They cannot do this.
Yes.
Is hearing really so wonderful? Because yesterday Ekadasi I fasted and I feel weak. My eyes are sparkling. So those great devotees, advanced devotees, only they can conquer eating and sleeping. Thank you.
Yes, you're right.
您说对了。
Somehow they live just like the Goswamis. They conquered eating and sleeping.
就像六勾索阿米们，他们是征服了吃和睡眠、进食和睡眠。
And they were always humble, meek and humble.
六勾索阿米们，他们总是恭顺谦卑。
So Maharaj Parikshit, you have to understand, remember he was saved within the womb by the Lord. So he was a very special soul.
我们还要记住，当 Parikshit 王在他母亲的子宫当中，就曾经被 Krishna 所拯救，因此他是一个特殊的灵魂。
He's the grandson of Arjuna.
他是 Arjuna 的孙子。
So father and mother were both very great devotees, not ordinary souls.
他的父母亲都是伟大的奉献者，不是普通的灵魂。
And when he was born, you can read in Srimad Bhagavatam all the predictions which were made about Maharaj Parikshit, his wonderful qualities.
如果您阅读圣典博伽瓦堂的话，您就可以了解，就是当他 Parikshit 王生下来之后，那些伟大的圣者们都已经预言了他的优秀的品质。
Okay.
The next one， 下一个 Rajendra Prabhu 有关于主 Shiva 的问题5个。第一 ，Sada Shiva 与每个宇宙的 Shiva 是什么关系 ？So there are continuing 5 questions about Lord Shiva. The first one is what's the relationship between Sada Shiva and Shiva in each universe?
Well, Sadashiva is not in this universe. He's in Vaikuntha.
Sada Shiva 他的居所不在这个物质世界，他居所在 Vaikuntha。
It's a form of Vishnu.
他是 Vishnu 的一个形象。
Yeah. What's
The next. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sadashiva 居住的地方也叫 Kailash 吗 ？What's the name of the residence of Sadashiva? Is it also called Kailash?
No.
不叫 Kailash.
Called Sadashiva Loka.
哦，那名字就叫 Sadashiva Loka.
Yeah, he has his own planet in the spiritual sky.
他在灵性天空有自己的星球。
下一个问题。
第三个 Sadashiva 的活动是什么？使命是什么 ？What's his activity? What's his mission of Sadashiva?
Well, he's a form of the Lord in the spiritual world.
Sadashiva 是主在灵性世界的另一个形象。
What's his mission? His mission is to reciprocate with his devotees, the devotees who go there, who worship the Lord and who reside there with him in the spiritual world, in the Vaikunthas. He will be with them, and he will. They will associate together and discuss topics of the spiritual world and discuss topics of Lord Krishna.
他的使命是，就是他的使命是回报他的奉献者，因为他的奉献者们就去那里崇拜主，他们和他居住在一起，他们在一起联谊。
What do any of the what do all the Vishnu forms do in Vaikuntha? You can read Brhad Bhagavatamrta. We read the Brhad Bhagavatamrta. We heard about the Lord in Vaikuntha and what the devotees are doing.
我们一直在讲述着《大婆伽瓦坛甘露》这本书，里面充满了就是在瓦昆塔的主威什努的他的活动。那主威什努在瓦昆塔是做什么呢？
They chant the holy name, and they all engage in devotional service.
他们是唱诵圣名，他们在从事的奉献服务，那里的奉献者们。
And Sadashiva is there. He's the Lord on that planet, and all the devotees there will worship him. So he will accept their worship, and he will satisfy them with nice words.
Sadashiva 是那个星球上的主宰，他的奉献者们在崇拜 Sadashiva。Sadashiva 是接受奉献者的崇拜，然后他用好言好语来回报他们。下一个 Sadashiva 与 Vishnu 啥关系 ？What's the relationship between Sadashiva and Lord Vishnu?
Well, Sadashiva is a form of Lord Vishnu.
Sadashiva 是 Vishnu 的另一个形象。
There are many different Vishnu forms. All the Vaikuntha planets, and every Vaikuntha planet, there's a different Vishnu form.
有不同的Vishnu，就不同的瓦昆的星球上有 Vishnu 的各个 Vishnu 的形象。The next， 有人说主 Shiva 属于半神，又说不属于半神。Somebody says Lord Shiva belongs to the category of demigod, but some says no.
Well, Lord Shiva is a very special personality. He's between... Usually Lord Shiva is not a jiva.
主 Shiva 是特殊的人物，一般来说他不是一个 jiva 个体灵魂。
right? But the relationship between Vishnu and Shiva is the milk and yogurt. That Shiva is the yogurt, Vishnu milk, and milk can be made into yogurt. So Lord Vishnu can become Shiva, but Lord Shiva never becomes Vishnu.
Vishnu 就好像牛奶 ，Shiva 就好像酸奶。牛奶可以转化成酸奶，酸奶不能转化成牛奶，所以 Vishnu 可以转化成 Shiva。
So Lord Shiva is in the category above the demigods.
因此，主 Shiva 是半神之上面的一个范畴。
We just heard today, he has his abode. It's beyond the covering of the material universe.
我们今天在课上面就讲，说主 Shiva 的居所是在物质宇宙外壳上面外面。
But it's not in the spiritual world. It's just outside the spiritual world.
但是也不在灵性世界，是在灵性世界外面。
It's above the abode of liberation.
它也是在解脱地之地的上面。
Yeah?
下一个问题。Panchatattva Prabhu， 明白 Maharaj， 主持人所有奉献者 ，Shiva Loka 距离灵性世界最近，逐 Shiva 的奉献者到 Shiva Loka， 是否很快就去灵性世界呢 ？Obeisance to Maharaj and the host and all devotees, since Shiva Loka, the distance between Shiva Loka and the spiritual world is the shortest distance. Is that the devotees of Lord Shiva can go to spiritual world very quickly?
Yes, but not just any devotee of Lord Shiva can go to Lord Shiva's abode there. Only those who have the proper understanding of Lord Shiva's position can go there.
是的，但不是任何主 Shiva 的奉献者都可以去灵性世界，只有那些对主 Shiva 的地位有着正确理解力的主 Shiva 的奉献者才可以去灵性世界。
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, you can read there was a big fight between the followers of Lord Shiva and the followers of Daksha.
圣殿博伽瓦坛第4篇当中有一段描述，是有关于主 Shiva 的追随者以及 Daksha 的追随者之间的一场激战。
And they cursed each other. The followers of Daksha were all Brahmanas, and they were cursed to become people who practiced dull rituals of no meaning.
主 Shiva 的追随者和 Daksha 追随者彼此互相的诅咒。Daksha 的追随者都是婆罗门，然后 Shiva 的追随者就诅咒这些婆罗门变成那些毫无意义的举行仪式的人们。
And the followers of Lord Shiva, they were cursed to become atheists.
而主 Shiva 的追随者们受到诅咒，变成无神论主义者。
And it is said both curses are still present today.
据说这2个诅咒现在就是当今年代都仍然在生效。
So most Shivites are atheists. They think that God has no form, He's not a person, they think God is just light.
主 Shiva 的追随者们，他们认为神无形无相，就是光，不是一个人。
And other people, they're devotees of Shiva to get some material desires, they're just materialists and they just want to get some material blessing.
还有一些主 Shiva 的追随者们都变成了就是物质主义者们，他们心中有着物质的愿望，想要获得物质的祝福。
Yeah. So only the real devotees who actually know Lord Shiva's position, they can actually go to that planet.
Only those real devotees who understand Lord Shiva can go to that planet.
Yes, they have to be.
只有那些对主 Shiva 真正的理解了主 Shiva 的地位的，主 Shiva 的奉献者，才可以去那个星球。
Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava. He's a great devotee, and he worships Lord Sankarshan.
主 Shiva 是一位伟大的 Vaishnava， 是伟大的奉献者，他崇拜主 Sankarshan。
Okay.
下一个问题。下一个问题来自于 Yuna Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj and all devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Devotees have a negative attitude toward Maya and Kali, but they are doing their service to Krishna. Should we show respect to them in some way? Yuna 问Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj 所有奉献者，请接受谦卑顶拜，荣耀归于Srila Prabhupada。奉献者们对于玛雅和卡里都有着负面的想法，但是他们都在履行各自对 Krishna 的服务。我们是不是应当以某种方式向他们展示敬意呢？
Yes, we should. We should respect them. Devotees should be are trained to respect the demigods. We should not disrespect any demigods.
我们应当尊敬他们，奉献者们，他们应当得到训练，尊重办事人，而不要对办事人有任何不恭敬心。
But ordinary people, they will worship these personalities to get material blessings.
普通人崇拜这些人物，是为了得到一些谋取一些物质利益。
Okay.
下一个问题来自于 Shruti Rupa Devdasi Hare Krishna， 顶拜咕噜和老师们，请教咕噜：一，在我目前的状态，在没有外在打扰的时候，可能控制心意方面问题不大，但是一旦被打扰，马上就会出现评判、抗拒等心理活动。请问咕噜，应该怎样才能把自己的心意训练到稳稳妥妥的 Krishna 知觉呢？ Two questions from Shruti Rupa Devdasi Hare Krishna basis to Guru and all teachers. First one is, in my present situation, if there is no disturbance from outside, then there is no problem to control my mind. But as soon as my mind is disturbed, there will immediately be some judgment and a reprisal. My mind will there will be a judgment and reprisal in my mind. Rejection. So my current question is that Guru, so what should I do to train my mind so enter into the proper mood of Krishna consciousness?
Well, you have to take the medicine. The medicine is simply the chanting of the holy name. You chant the holy name with great determination, and within your mind you also think of Krishna and pray to Krishna to help you to control your mind.
那您应当吃药，这个药是什么呢？就是去接受圣灵，而且要下定决心，在您的心意里要想着 Krishna， 您要祈祷 Krishna 帮助您控制心意。
We know the nature of the mind. Everyone has the same problem with the mind. We have to learn to overcome it.
我们都知道心意的本性，人人都在心意控制心意方面都有着问题，所以我们要学习怎样征服心意。
In the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna was describing meditation to Arjuna, and Arjuna said he couldn't do it because his mind was too restless.
在《薄伽梵歌》第6章，主 Krishna 向 Arjuna 描述了冥想体系，但是 Arjuna 回答说他无法做到，因为心意总是不安不稳。
But Lord Krishna told him, no, it's possible, you can do it, but you have to practice.
但是主 Krishna 告诉他，并不是这样的，你是有可能控制心意的，只需要通过恰当的修行。
And you have to also become detached.
还要变得不依附。
The problem is we're very attached. Our material attachments are very strong. You have to let go.
问题就出在于我们的物质的依附，我们有这么强烈的物质依附感，所以必须要放手这些物质的依附感。
Yeah, we have to learn to surrender. This is all the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, that we have to surrender and we have to accept everything which happens as Krishna's arrangement.
我们必须要学会臣服，这是整部薄伽梵歌的教导，就是要把一切都当成是 Krishna 的安排。
What's the second question?
Second question is that 有从来没有接触过修行的新人，问现在听了一段时间的薄伽梵歌，还是感觉在听天书，也不想念圣名，请问这是不是罪恶深重的原因呢？There are some neophytes who hasn't any previous practice. Now, this neophyte, after reading Bhagavad Gita for some time, still felt that this book cannot understand. It's very mysterious. Cannot understand anything, and also the neophyte don't have the inclination to chant the holy name. So, is it the reason that the neophyte had a lot of sin because very sinful?
Well, most people are in a similar condition.
大部分人都是情况比较类似。
You have to help them to start. You have to have kirtan with them. You have to do chanting with them. You have to help start with a little kirtan. And by kirtan, gradually they will get a taste for chanting.
您必须帮助这些新人，跟他们一起 kirtan，您要跟他们一起唱诵，让他们逐步发展出对唱诵的念诵的品味。
Yeah, people often don't like to sit and chant with beads, but they can join the kirtan with the devotees chanting and dancing even. Then they find pleasure, they will take pleasure in that chanting.
大部分人不喜欢呆呆的坐在那里念诵，坐下来念诵，但是他们喜欢跟奉献者一起 kirtan， 然后在 kirtan 当中呢，就是快乐的跳舞。
And somebody reads the Bhagavad Gita, they say they can't understand it. You have to help them understand it. You have to read with them. You have to explain it to them. You have to sit with them and go through it with them, read together, and you explain to them what being done, what's happening. Otherwise, very difficult for people to understand.
大部分读国家梵歌的人都不明白在讲的是什么，那您就得需要帮助他们呢，您需要给他们解释，跟他们坐下来一起来读这部书，给他们解释到底发生了什么事情，否则的话很难理解。
This is true everywhere, not just there, not just in your place, everywhere in the world. People have difficulties to understand sometimes. They need help, they need association. This is what association is for.
这个是全世界各地的普遍现象。人们呢，就是会有一段时间呢很难理解，所以呢，您就奉献者就得帮助他们，跟他们联谊，这就是联谊的意义所在。
Association will help people come into Krishna consciousness.
联谊可以帮助人们走进 Krishna 之觉。
So you have to help them, let them join the kirtan, and they will hear people chanting, and they will see also how it's in pleasure, and it's not difficult, and gradually they'll start to do it.
所以呢，您就得帮助他们，让他们加入进 kirtan， 让他们聆听这个唱诵的音阵，然后当他们看到奉献者这么快乐，他们就觉得不难了，然后逐渐的他们就可以开始理解了。
And you have to also help them understand the books. Maybe you get some smaller book. Maybe Bhagavad Gita is a bit too difficult for them, so you start with one small book, like Beyond Birth and Death, and then some small book, and you read it together and discuss it.
那为了帮助他们理解这个国家梵歌这部大部头的书呢，您可以给他们先看像《超越生死》这样的小书，然后跟他们一起来朗读，然后呢，接下来就讨论这个书里的内容。
Yeah. Okay.
请问这种状态下应该怎样才能培养起对 Krishna 这个信心呢？You have maybe answered the next part of the question is that how under the circumstances how can I help them to cultivate the faith in Krishna consciousness?
Yes, if you have faith yourself, then you'll be able to give to them.
是的，如果您自己信心满满的，就可以把信心给予他们了。
We get faith by associating with people who have faith.
通过和那些信心满满的人联谊，就能获得足够的信心。
So you have to guide them properly. You have to help them to understand the books. You have to help them to get a taste for the holy name by kirtan.
所以呢，您需要指导他们明白理解这部书，并且帮助他们获得对 kirtan 的品味。下一个是来自于那拉迪恩姐姐，顶拜姑姑，我的舅婆前2天离开躯体前几天，舅婆就处于昏迷状态，在这样的情况下，24小时不间断给他听 Hare Krishna Mantra， 听国家梵歌对他有帮助吗？老人前几天看起来很痛苦，离开躯体的时候看起来很安详，而且很认真的听 Mantra， 离开躯体的时候像是睡着了，这是 Mantra 起作用了吗？深顶拜 Guru 奉献者莲花族。Obeisance to Guru， 舅婆 ，my 舅妈是舅妈吧 ？My aunt-in-law， 2 days ago, my aunt-in-law left her body. Several days before she left her body, she's in coma. She was in coma. So I play Hare Krishna mantra 24 hours for her. And let her listen to Bhagavad Gita. Is that helpful for her? Because several days ago, she looked very painful, but when she left her body, she seems very peaceful, and she even listened to mantra very seriously. Therefore, when she left her body, she seems to go to deep sleep. Is that the effect of the mantra? Basis to the Guru and all devotees, the lotus feet of you?
Yes, certainly hearing the holy name will help to create a nice atmosphere, and it will evoke the presence of good spirits. The evil spirits would not come where there's the chanting of the holy name.
是的，圣名会帮助创造一个非常良好的氛围，并且圣名的临在也会召唤至善灵，就善良灵魂的临在，会驱除邪灵、邪恶的灵魂。
Yeah, where the chanting of the holy name is going on, the servants of Yamaraj will not come to that place.
哪里有圣名，Yamaraj 的仆人就不会去那里。
Usually, everybody goes to Yamaraj to be punished to be judged for their activities. But if you are chanting the holy name, you don't have to go to Yamaraj.
通常就是每一个人都会临终之后都要去阎罗王那里接受审判，但是倘若有圣名，那么这样的人就不用去阎罗王那里接受审判了。
She'll have the opportunity to have association with devotees in her next life.
她在来世就会有机会与奉献者们联谊。
Yeah.
The next one, 真真 Hare Krishna， 亲爱的 Guru Maharaj， 顶拜您的莲花和做奉献。The comment from 真真。下一个问题，真真 is paying your obeisances and all devotee. Next, Himavati， 请问 Guru， Mahavishnu 与圣 Narayana 有区别吗？感恩您。Guru, what's the distinction between Mahavishnu and Lord Narayan?
Yeah, Lord Narayan is the form of the Lord in the spiritual world, in Vaikunthas, and Mahavishnu is the Lord who's doing the work of he's laying in the causal ocean, and from his body all the universes come out at the time of creation, and at the time of the annihilation everything enters into his body.
主 Narayan 呢是在灵性世界Vaikunta星球上，还居住在那里，而Mahavishnu他是躺在物质世界的元运之阳，从他的身体毛孔散发出无数的宇宙，而在这个宇宙毁灭的时候呢，这些宇宙又再次进入到他的体内。
So Mahavishnu, he is called one of the Purusha avatars. Purusha avatars, they're doing the work of the creation for the material world.
Mahavishnu 也被称为Purusha 化身之一。Purusha 化身的使命，它就是创造物质世界。
Okay.
下一个是真真，请问 Guru， 知道对赞美和批评的依附不好，现在却还做不到不为所动，听 听到赞美还是容易骄傲，听到批评还是会心里难过。该怎么做才能做到对此不依附呢？ So this devotee is just now paying obeisance to you. She asked that although I know it is not good to attach to praise and criticism, but still I cannot be undisturbed by those praising and criticism. As soon as I heard praising, I felt proud. And as soon as I heard criticism, I felt sorry in my heart. So what should I do to become unattached to them?
Yes, you have to chant Hare Krishna more. You have to purify your consciousness.
是的，您需要更多的唱诵 Hare Krishna， 净化您的知觉。
And you already understand that this is not a good situation, that you shouldn't feel proud when you're praised, and you shouldn't lament when you're chastised. But you should accept it as Krishna's mercy, that Krishna is teaching you to be humble.
您已经明白了，就是听到赞美就骄傲，或者听到斥责就内心难过，这样做不好。您应该把他们都接受，把它接受成是 Krishna 的仁慈，再教导您如何变得谦卑。
Yeah, when you're chastised, Krishna is making you humble. So you say, thank you, Krishna. And when you're praised, you say, actually, I don't deserve this praise, but Krishna is just trying to encourage me. And you say, thank you, Krishna.
那么当您就是受到斥责的时候呢，您应当认为是 Krishna 在教导您要变到谦卑，所以你就应该感谢 Krishna， 对 Krishna 说谢谢你。那如果您听到赞美的时候，你应该这么想，就是我不配得到这些赞美，但是 Krishna 在这样的鼓励我，所以同样的谢谢你 Krishna。
So in every situation you have to see the hand of Krishna.
您必须在每一个境况之下呢，都看见 Krishna 的仁慈之手。
Okay?
下一个 H， 顶拜亲爱的咕噜，所有奉献者。如果小孩子在吃肉，即使去做专门的注意力训练，是不是也不会达到真正的专注与静心呢？要怎样训练他们才可能做到专注聆听呢？ Obeisance to dear Guru and all devotees, if the child is still eating meat, is that although we train them specially to concentrate their mind, still they cannot truly, genuinely concentrate their mind and become very peaceful in their heart. So how can we train them to become very attentively in listening? Thank you.
Well, you see, the child is eating meat. This is because of the upbringing, that from the birth the child was not brought up to be a vegetarian, so he has a habit to eat meat.
就是孩子吃肉呢，他就是从小的时候他就没有受到这方面的教养，有让他们吃素，所以他们就养成了吃肉的习惯。
The beginning of life was not very auspicious. There was no purification. There was no opportunity for the child to develop good qualities or good habits.
所以从生命之初呢，他们的生命之初就不是很吉祥，就没有得到过净化，没有养成好习 惯，没有培养优秀的品质。
So how can the child develop control over the mind?
Become very attentively in hearing.
It cannot.
Concentrate. 那他们这种情况下，他们就做不到非常专注的聆听。
Is that right? 他做不到。
She asked if we send them to be trained in the turn of in the field of be very concentrated, give them special training in this regard, and that they cannot become truly very concentrated and very peaceful, she asked.
Well, does she have some special way of training them?
那Guru 问您是不是就是有那种特殊的训练方式呢？ It seems like that. 即便去做专门的训练。It seems like that. Let me see.
Well, the point is the child does not have good habits. He's eating meat. He's not developing proper control over the mind and senses.
最关键就是孩子现在没有养成好习惯，并没有能够发展出对感官和心意的控制。
So you want the child to be sense controlled, to control the mind, to be peaceful.
那您就希望孩子能够控制他的感官，控制心意。
It's going to take some time to see what is the nature of the child. What does he want to do with his life as he grows? You have to observe and see.
那就您需要花一段时间来观察这个孩子的天性如何，观察他长大以后能够去做什么事情。
You have to find something which interests the child. If the child is able to absorb himself in some particular activity, then he may be peaceful. The problem is just to find the right activity which he likes to do, which he enjoys. Then he's probably peaceful.
您就需要找到孩子的兴趣点，孩子能够在哪些活动上变得专心致志的从事这个活动，他的内心从而变得平和，去找到适合这孩子的正确的活动，找到孩子的喜好，这样他内心就能平和了。
Anyway, if you have some special program to help the child to concentrate, to improve his concentration, then get him to do it. Yeah.
那么您呢？就现在去给他做特殊的注意力训练，有这种项目，那可以，您就可以去这样去做。
Yeah. 下一个问题。
下一个来自于灵慧，顶拜咕噜，所有奉献者，请问咕噜解脱了，还是要轮回，对吗？这一世要回文达问需要苦行，请问咕噜，当今年代我们的苦行是什么？是控制心意和承受躯体的疾病吗？请咕噜细讲。Hare Krishna. Obeisance to Guru and all devotees. So, if we get liberated, then still there has to be reincarnation.
No, liberation means you go beyond birth and death.
那就不需要再轮回了，解脱就意味着已经超越生死了。She asked that if in this time we want to go back to Vrindavan, there has to be some tapasya. So Guru, what's our tapasya for this age? Is it to control the mind and endure the illness of the body? So please explain it in detail, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the tapasya for this age is to follow 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds.
这个年代的苦行是遵守4项原则，唱诵、念诵16圈。
This is the tapasya for the Kali Yuga.
这个是卡里年代的苦行，
To strictly follow 4 principles.
严格的遵守4项原则，
And to chant 16 rounds every day without offense, at least trying to avoid offenses.
并且，没有冒犯的念诵16圈，至少是努力的避免冒犯的去念诵16圈。
That is the tapasya.
这就是我们要做的苦行。
Yes?
下一个来自 S， 请问天堂星宿是包括地球以上的所有星球吗？还是指月球 ？Goloka 和So this devotee asked, is the Svargaloka heavenly planets include all planets above the Earth, or only refers to the moon planet?
Heavenly planet. Well, the sun and the moon, they're both heavenly planets.
太阳、月亮都属于天堂。
Yeah, there are different planets there above our own planet, and they're considered the heavenly planets.
在我们地球之上呢，有不同的星球，它们被视作天堂。
And then there's planets above the heavenly planets.
在天堂之上还有星球。
When we began reading the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, we described Gopkumar going to all these different planets.
我们在讲述这《大博伽瓦堂甘露》这本书一开始就讲了格帕库马尔去了不同的星球。
How he went. First he was on Earth, then he went to the heavenly planets, and then he went to Mahaloka and Janaloka, Tapaloka, and then he went to Satyaloka, the planet of Brahma.
他从地球去了天堂，又从天堂又去了 Mahaloka、Janaloka、Tapaloka，然后又上到了 Satyaloka， 就是 Brahma 的星球。
Okay?
Goloka 和地球 Vrindavan 有何区别 ？What's the distinction between Goloka and Vrindavan on Earth?
Goloka and Vrindavan on Earth? Well, in Goloka, Krishna's always present.
在 Goloka 就是 Krishna 是时时刻刻的，
But
永远不离开 Goloka。
in Vrindavan on Earth, Krishna is not always manifest. He He's there, but you don't always, it's not, you can always see him. Only certain times you can see him.
而在地球上的文达文，你是不能总是看到他，就是 Krishna， 他不是总展示的，他在那里，但是呢，我们看不见，他只是在特定的时间在展示他自己。
Yeah, like 5,000 years ago, he was manifest.
他5000年前就在那里展示了他自己。
So usually one time in the day of Brahma, you can see him there in Brahma, in Vrindavan.
通常就在 Brahma 的一天当中，你可以见到他一次。下一个 continue， 天地 Indra 怎么能去地球文达文 ？How can Indra go to Vrindavan on Earth? Went to Vrindavan on Earth.
Well, Indra he has his own carrier, he has a vehicle, he comes to visit.
Indra 有自己的坐骑，他有自己的交通工具可以去拜访。
When he sent, at the time when Krishna was present, Indra sent the clouds to inundate Vrindavan. And he said, I'm coming with you. And Indra came with them to see the clouds. But the clouds, they could not do anything. They could not damage Vrindavan because Krishna picked up the Govardhan hill and protected everyone.
当 Krishna 在地球上的时候呢，Indra 天帝就派遣了雨云来淹没文达文，然后他就告诉这些雨云，我会跟你们一起去，所以他就去看这些雨云所做的工作。但是最后这些雨云呢，雨它没有淹没了文达文，因为主 Krishna 举起了戈尔丹山，保护了文达文。
So the demigods would come regularly to this planet, but not in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, they don't like to come. People are too sinful.
半神人们呢，他们会有规律的、定期的来地球，但是不是在卡里年代？在卡里年代，他们不喜欢来，因为太罪恶了。
Yeah. 下一个问题。
下一个是 Atanya Charan。引拜Guru和奉献者看到瑜伽阶梯有3个：渐进瑜伽阶梯、业报瑜伽、思辨瑜伽、八部瑜伽、奉爱瑜伽、进步瑜伽阶梯、Sakam Yoga、Sakam、Niskam、Bhava Bhakti、Prema Bhakti 快速瑜伽阶梯、Sadhana Bhakti、Bhava。问题是快速瑜伽阶梯 Sadhana Bhakti、Bhava Bhakti、Prema Bhakti 3者有什么区别 ？Chaitanya Mahaprabhu paying obeisance to Guru and all devotees. There are 3 ladder of There are 3 level of yoga ladder. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and also Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga. There are Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, and Sadhana Bhakti. So the question is that what's the similarity and distinction, a difference between Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti?
No. Yeah. Well, Sadhana Bhakti is devotional service and practice, where we're practicing to follow the different rules and regulations. And Sadhana Bhakti is using our senses and mind to awaken ecstatic love for Krishna, to come to the higher level of Bhava Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti 是指的修行中的奉爱服务，要遵守各项规则，要运用感官、运用心意 唤醒对 Krishna 狂喜的爱，
There
上
are-
升到Bhagavatam。
There are two levels of sadhana bhakti. One is according to the rules and regulations, and the other is spontaneous.
Sadhana bhakti 规范修行，它有分为两种，一种是
According to rules and
一种是
regulations.
遵守规则的 sadhana bhakti， 另外一种是自发的。
So in the beginning we follow the rules and regulations guided by scriptures and the spiritual teacher. But then gradually it becomes more natural and spontaneous. We want to serve Krishna.
一开始的时候，我们是遵守经典，遵守灵性老师的指导，去修行，然后逐渐的他就会自发的想要去做了。
And Bhava Bhakti is devotional service in ecstasy, where one is very strongly attached to chanting the holy name and to hearing about Krishna and residing in the holy Dham.
Bhava Bhakti 是指的是在狂喜当中的奉爱服务，在这个阶段，一个人会强烈的依附圣灵，依附于聆听 Krishna， 依附于居住在圣地。
Bhava Bhakti, one has there are 9 principles describing Bhava Bhakti, nine characteristics of somebody who's on the level of Bhava, described in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 17 and 18.
奉爱的甘露这部书的第17章、第18章描述了巴瓦的9项特征。
Right. Meant that you don't waste time. You're fully engaged in Krishna's service every second.
到这个阶段，人就不会浪费1分1秒的时间，并且完全的、全然的从事为 Krishna 所服务。
And Prema Bhakti is where you develop love of God and you see everything and everyone in relation to Krishna.
而在 Prema Bhakti 阶段呢，人已经发展出了神爱，那时候他看到万事万物和每一个人都跟 Krishna 有关系。
So they're all stages of pure devotion. Sadhana Bhakti, one who's doing Sadhana Bhakti, he's also a pure devotee. Bhava Bhakti is pure devotee, Prema Bhakti is also pure, but they're different levels.
他们都属于纯粹的奉爱。Sadhana Bhakti、Bhava Bhakti 和 Prema Bhakti 都属于纯粹的奉爱，但只是层级不同。
Yeah. Okay.
好，最后一个问题是，那个一串数字 Hare Krishna， 亲爱的 Gurudev 08年的莲花组，为什么牧牛姑娘、牧牛童他们合在一起都是感到独自合处在一起呢？这是什么样的心态呢？请教你，感恩 Gurudev。Dear Gurudev, I listen to your lotus feet. Why, when the Gopals and Gopis they stay with the Lord, they feel that they are with the Lord separately. Only they are with themselves are with the Lord. What kind of mentality is that? Thank you.
Well, Krishna arranges for them to think like that. It's not that they think like that, but it's Krishna arranges like that.
是 Krishna 做了安排，使得他们有这种想法，并不是他们自己这么想的，这都是 Krishna 的安排导致的。
Krishna wants them to experience his love for them.
Krishna 希望他们能体验到，他们各自对 Krishna 的爱。
So this is it. This is the pure love of the gopis.
这些是Krishna 的Gopi 牧牛姑娘对 Krishna 的纯爱。
That they wanted whatever pleases Krishna, they will accept.
无论什么，什么能够取悦 Krishna， 他们就接受。
And Krishna likes them to think that he's with them, not with the others, that he's only with them. Krishna likes them to feel like that.
Krishna 希望他们，认为，就是 Krishna 只和他们在一起，没有再和别人在一起。他是希望他们有这种，有这种感受。
And then Krishna can also test them. He can see, are they becoming proud?
Krishna 他有时候也考验他们，看他们有没有变得骄傲。
And if he sees they're becoming proud, then Krishna will leave them and disappear.
一旦 Krishna 看到他们有这种骄傲情绪，他就立刻消失了，离开了他们。
So it is Krishna's pastimes, for Krishna's pleasure that he does all these things. Everything which happens is Krishna's plan, Krishna's arrangement for his pleasure.
这些都是 Krishna 的消时光，是 Krishna 出于快乐那么去做的。
And the gopis,
无论是什么，都是 Krishna 的计划安排。
and
他的为了。
the gopis' mood is simply servant of Krishna, that they will Krishna's servant in all situations.
Gopi 牧牛姑娘的心态就是 Krishna 的仆人，在任何情况下都是 Krishna 的仆人。
Okay, so we will stop here. Sorry, Wamaganshi Guru
Oh,
Mani.
sorry, there is one more question. There's one more question. So, do you want to answer?
Shamawanti.
下一个就是来自于 Rajarani， 姑妈尔，请接受我卑微请问：当宇宙有部分毁灭时，下面的和中等的星球去哪里？是融进去 Garbhodaksha Vishnu 身体吗？So when there are actually destruction in the universe, where is the destination of the lower and middle planet system? Is it that they merge into the body of Mahavishnu?
Yeah, if it's a partial annihilation. Partial
Yes.
annihilation takes place at the end of Brahma's day. So then partial annihilation. And yeah, they will enter in the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu.
在 Brahma 的白天结束的时候，就发生这个部分的毁灭。这时候这些星球确实是进入了 Garbhodaksha Vishnu。Okay, finish.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Woman Ganshia Guru Mani, Mataji ke woman Fani, Ganshia Sati Mataji Juja, or Krishna Kumari Juja. Ganshia 所有的方向是聆听，祝福你们长寿快乐，保重身体，维持健康。Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
跟大基服务员聆听，非常非常感谢圣巴蒂维维纳什纳辛哈索尔马尔给我们带来精彩的导课，感谢所有奉献人耐心聆听提出的好问题。希望大家能在过日的中过一个愉快的周二。Hare Krishna。
Hare Krishna.